Breaking news tonight, two former Twitter employees accused of spying on prominent opponents of the Saudi Arabian government. Federal prosecutors say the two men worked with a Saudi government middleman to get personal information on thousands of personal accounts of dissenters, including a close ally of Jamal Khashoggi, the Washington Post columnist and dissident who was killed last year. Newly uncovered tweets tonight show the so-called whistleblower's attorney, Mark Zaid, is nothing more than a never-Trumper partisan. Just 10 days after the president's inauguration, Zaid retweeted news about former acting Attorney General Sally Yates getting fired, captioning his tweet with, quote, "Coup has started, first of many steps. Rebellion, impeachment will follow, ultimately. Lawyers." Amidst a few other tweets about impeachment, there's even one about how CNN will help bring down the president. Zaid says, quote, "I predict CNN will play a key role in President Trump not finishing out his full term as president." So there seems to be some confusion tonight about when we'll all get to see the Justice Department Inspector General Michael Horowitz's report on FISA abuse. An anonymous source telling the Washington Post that report will be out before Thanksgiving. But another anonymous source says a number of complicated issues make that target unlikely. Well, it's certainly been unlikely so far, hasn't it? So we thought we'd ask you to break the tie. Do you believe the FISA abuse report will be released before or after Thanksgiving? I think we all know just as much as those anonymous sources, so cast your vote on my Twitter page at Lou Dobbs. Joining us tonight, Victoria Tensing, former Deputy Assistant Attorney General for the Criminal Division of the Justice Department; Joe diGenova, former U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia, founding partners of diGenova and Tensing Law Firm. Great to see you both, and I know you've been traveling, and it's good to see you back. Let's turn to first the Inspector General report. I'll be in the same position I've been in for 2 years. Are we ever going to see this report?
You are going to see it, Lou, but I am not predicting. So much for anonymous sources. Look at that. One says yeah before Thanksgiving, and the other says no. But I can tell you this, and we have darn good sources for this. It's going to be very bad for the people in the Obama administration. As somebody, my source said to me, it's going to be worse than you can imagine.
Well, that is a heck of a tease, Victoria. That I'm already sort of chomping at the bit to get the thing. Joe, your thoughts on that Horowitz report? It doesn't sound like it's going to be a tepid matter. Explosive, would you say?
I would say explosive, and I would say for people at the highest levels of the FBI and at the highest levels of the Justice Department, more important, the Justice Department, it's going to be devastating. It's going to ruin careers. It's going to make people have bar problems. It's going to be
Bill Barr problems.
No. Bar association problems. Because what's clear, and now we know, is that the senior levels of the Obama Justice Department were complicit in knowingly submitting materially false applications to the FISA court for an illegitimate counterintelligence purpose, not for a legitimate purpose, but to spy on Americans for political purposes. And it really will end up being the beginning of the greatest political scandal in history. And it's being held up partially because of John Durham's new grand jury, which, by the way, exists for one reason and one reason only, because people are going to be indicted.
Now, he is now in charge of both FISA abuse and the origins of Spygate, whatever you want to call it, the worst political scandal in this country's history. Is anything being held up because of just simply the vast scope of his investigation?
It's been expanded, Lou, because he is now going into whole other areas. He's gone back into the origins of the investigation. I mean, for those of us who know this business, if you're in counterintelligence and you get a word that a George Papadopoulos has said he heard something, that the Russians have something, you know what you do? You go, You go knock on his door within a week and ask him about it and have him give you the information. Where did he get it and how did he... They didn't do that. They didn't do that at all. They dissipate all the rules of a counterintelligence investigation.
And it's expanded because originally Barr wanted Durham to just look at the beginnings of Crossfire Hurricane. How did this start? How did it happen? But then what they discovered was that they found out from the Devin Nunes experience at the White House in March of 2017 that there had been massive unmaskings of Americans for political purposes, and that those information was given and leaked to the press. And by the way, the Michael Flynn Ambassador Kislyak call, the Russian ambassador, which was leaked to David Ignatius of the Post, is in fact the subject of one of the criminal investigations, because that leak is a 20-year felony.
And I've got another idea for Durham. That is, he ought to bring in Mark Zaid before the grand jury and ask him how he knew that CNN was going to be a part of it. Was he talking to James Clapper? And did he know that Clapper was going to leak the dossier?
Well, we know that James Clapper he was talking to a number of people. All of those are good questions. I wanted to end with your answers, but we're going to go with your questions tonight. It's great to see you both as always, and thanks.
Thank you, Lou.
Appreciate
Good to be
it so
back.
much. Good to see you, Victoria. Thank you, Joe.